I'd like to invite Giannina Pérez to the virtual stage. Giannina is the Senior Policy Advisor for Early Childhood for Governor Newsom. She is an early childhood policy expert and a strategist with 20 years of experience in state policy, advocacy, and government impacting young children, prenatal to age 8, as well as their families. She is a fierce advocate for our children. And we are so delighted to have Giannina with us today to share her thoughts about the direction of the state for early childhood. Welcome, Giannina.
Hi, Myra. Thank you, everyone. Gracias. I was like, can we just keep going with that panel, though, please? I really enjoyed that so very much. So I would love to invite Anya, Joel, and Jonathan. You have now been anointed in the early learning advocacy space as well. So prenatal on up, we need your good vibes. We need your vision. So please come on in. We would very much appreciate you. I want to just give some quick remarks because I think we're a little bit over, and I apologize at the beginning if you can hear, hopefully not my son's stuff going on in the background, but I think everyone can appreciate that this is real and this is how we are. So I was just asked to give some reflections on where we're at, where we're going, and what we think is what's gonna pop up in this very exciting year, hopefully very exciting year to come. As I first have to acknowledge what John said earlier today, though, that there has a lot has happened this year. There's been billions and literally billions and billions and billions of dollars that's been poured into the early childhood space, particularly in early care and education. We've been fortunate thanks to federal government. And of course, we're all waiting anxiously for Build Back Better, which could give us another 40 billion in our state with which to sustain, expand, innovate, and build on our very important early care and education system. So the point I'm just trying to make right now is just reiterating what John said earlier. It's been a lot that's happened this year. And what the panelists just said, we need to be smart about how we do this. We can't expect a quick fix. We've got to go slow. So in the policy world, the very hard work now of implementation and making sure we're doing this right is important. So the unglamorous work of state government and local government and school districts and AP providers and R&R centers and childcare centers and all of the community is going to be now, coming down with how do we get the money out to families and how is this impacting the lives of families and their children, as well as the providers and educators that are serving our children and families. So that is going to take a good amount of time. As many of you know, at our Department of Social Services, they're not yet 6 months in charge of our subsidized early care system right now, and they have strong leaders, of course, in Kim Johnson, as well as in Lupe Jaime Milham, and AP's very recent departure with Carla Bleites Howell. Thank you for letting her come to serve in Department of Social Services. We're very grateful for her. What we just all need to do is, I know there's been a lot of I'll just say frustration with how the money, when is it coming out? When is the guidance, when are they coming out? What's the framework for all the different initiatives, such as the 250 million for infrastructure in the early care and education space? When are those coming out, and how do we get those dollars? Because we know there's so much to be done. So I'll just ask for some patience with that, but also as good advocates that I know you all are, just offering up how can we help? Your communities 10,000 times better than we do, and even though we all at the state level try to keep connected to locals, please don't be afraid. And I know you're not, but just another plug to please be able to offer your resources to help us, be able to communicate to our local partners what's going on, our local communities, just to families I don't think are going to fully understand, because government tries, but we're not community navigators, we're not promotoras, we're not community health workers. We are clumsy in our language, in our websites many times. We're trying to do better, but we do know we need ambassadors such as our family childcare providers, our schools, to help us reach out to families to let them know that what they're now eligible for, to make sure that all families have access to the services that they are eligible for. So DSS is doing all the work that it can to get these monies out, but it's going to be, I think, a little bit more slow going. The other piece I want to lift up, and I do want to be mindful, thank you for the time, but I do want to respect everyone's time. The rate and quality conversation in the early care and education space is going to be beginning very, very soon. The DSS and CDE will be convening a stakeholder work group where many stakeholders, as well as our legislative partners, will be participating, facilitated by consultants to really get at the heart. And I'll just say, I think it's the heart of the matter in the ECE space. How are we going to support and stabilize, but not just stabilize, help our providers flourish? We know, speaking about just adult mental health, adult supports, when you are worried about your own family's economic well-being, health insurance, all the other issues that have come up for so many families in the pandemic, but also we know for our family childcare providers that it can't be done. We can't build a system on that. And so the conversations, thanks to the first collective bargaining agreement that came out this year with the state and our childcare providers united in California, I think will help pave the way for being able to really create a system that is robust and that honors our providers and that really gets to the heart of the developmental needs of children. So that JLMC, the Joint Labor Management Committee, will also be meeting to discuss rates and quality. So remember, at last year's budget, we have a stakeholder work group on rate and quality, and then we'll have a Joint Labor Management Committee comprised of the state as well as our union partners to also discuss rates and qualities with the goal of being able to really see how do we create a high quality, accessible, affordable early care and education system moving forward. I think the other thing I will just plug, though, in addition to implementation, in addition to rates and quality conversation, and of course, Build Back Better. We really, really are at this period to talk about once in a generation. I thought this was moving and we were going to get this money a lot sooner. But of course, I know as many folks are watching and waiting, this is not a done deal. So anything that you all can do to connect with your local congressional members is going to be really important, especially if you're connected to national folks. Really get them to connect with their leaders in other states as well. This is not a done deal. We really need to get all hands on deck to make sure that those additional resources come through. I think with that, I do want to just circle back to the heart of what Advancement Project I think is trying to do by bringing folks together from the early care and education and the K-12 space is really just to have these conversations about hearing each other's language. I really do appreciate when I hear K-12 speak about multi-tiered systems of support, about students, about the language that I don't normally use. I talk about children, I don't talk about students. I talk about, social emotional learning. And I know a K-12 world is starting to talk more and more about that, but that's the EC. That's just the language that I'm used to in the ECE space. And so being able to bridge, which I think AP does very well, bridge these two worlds is really going to be tantamount. We have billions coming into our schools. Our schools need to know that their ECE partners are there. They want to partner, they want to listen. And so I really would just encourage all of our school-based folks to step up and reach out, because our ECE folks are here. They have the knowledge. They are in the community. They know the community. You don't have to reach out to talk to them. I'm sure many of them will be reaching out to you. So please just give them they need to have more than just one seat at the table. They will make your lives easier as you get your billions of dollars out. And finally, just say thank you to AP for all that you're doing. I really appreciate when I see joy, transformation, identity, resilience in an agenda, in a policy discussion. It just brings me joy to remember that that's what we're here for. That's what we're all about. So thank you again.